Hello, it is Rebecca Scatterbecker from Scatterbecker Art, and today we're going to do some gel printing with embossed card from embossing folders. Now I learned the technique recently and I had a go and used my Liz Horton Crafts supplies, and I was really pleased with the results and shared a couple of the results online, and a lot of people quite liked them and made really nice comments, and would I do a tutorial. So this is me doing the tutorial. Take that off my gel plate. You can see that I've got 10" by 8" gel plates, and I've put it on a piece of A4 card so that when you take an impression with another piece of A4 card, you can line it up correctly. I just wanted to show a few of the many 65 items that I've done. So using recent folders from Lisa's, you'll recognise on coloured paper, on paper that's a William Morris embossing folder, on paper that's previously been coloured with inks. Most of the impressions have been taken with the deboss side because it makes a better impression. That's the William Morris ones. Take out the ones I'm not supposed to show you. Now that's another of the that's the Jasmine Vine, which is one of my favorites, but it's not the best for this technique. Not as good as this one, which is called Compton Florals, which has more background space in it. So I'm just learning which ones are the best ones to work with. So that's Compton Florals again. That's one with a print on the white card but with a yellow printed over the top. I think that was to lift the original print. That's got the light coloured background, light cream background, can't remember the name of course. Another yellow one. That's a pickup print with white. Compton Florals, they've been most successful. That's Jasmine Vine again. That's jasmine with yellow in the background, and that was my first session with the William Morris ones. Then I picked out some floral, the Year in Bloom ones, and I've done them on lighter paper. Started bringing in gold. So that's the daisies from the Floral Bloom. I think that's the Hawthorn Blossom. The sunflower one has come out really well, and lots of incarnations of that. But the gold looks great. Now this one, I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I've got orange in the background as well as pink and blue. So, and that's one of my absolute favourites. That's come out really well as well, with the lighter gold over the pink. That's the fluorescent pink background. That's the fluorescent orange. That's green and gold. That's the white paper with just the gold, pale gold on it. That's another of my favourites. That one has also come out very well with the green and the orange on top. Or, yeah, I think that's the way around it was. That's gold on top of the, not Willow Forest, the other green. Jasmine Sage, is it? That's just the darker gold. That's the dark gold on the light gold. That's on the pale green. Gold on the pale green. That's a background of sweet violet. with the gold on the top, and a few more not quite so successful. That one's come out really nice with the fluorescent green. It's actually fluorescent yellow and the gold on top. I'm sure it is. I tried with that folder, but I didn't have as much success with that one because it's not quite as deep, I don't think. Get rid of the ones that I shouldn't be showing you. That's the Jasmine Sage on the deboss, which has come out quite well. Compton Florals, Compton Florals, Compton Florals. So Compton Florals was one of the best ones. So in order to prepare, put those somewhere where they're not going to fall over. In order to prepare, I've taken impressions on all of the embossing folders that I've got out, which include Lovely Lace, Bold Stars, Wrapping Up, Festive Robin, Bold Daisy Background, Arty Daisy, Tangled Twine, Compton Florals and Jasmine Vine. I've impressed the paper. The paper that I've impressed is 300 GSM, and I've used 200 GSM card to pull the prints. I will, because that works slightly better than the heavier card. So there are various methods for doing this. One of the ones that we can do is just to cover the gel plate in ink or paint and pull that onto a clean piece of white paper and then do the technique over the top. So, but if we start with a clean plate, we'll cover it with ink or paint, we'll use the embossing folders to make a pattern and then lift immediately with the coloured or the unused card. Now, I've not prepared any coloured paper in advance, so this is me doing it essentially from scratch. I have done the embossing folders because that's the bit that takes time. They are all cut on slightly less than 5x7 paper, and I'm probably going to be using the deboss side to make the impressions on the plate, because that's what's been most successful. So I've used two types of inks in my trials, and they have been Lisa's inks, the blending inks, and well, all blending inks, the William Morris blending inks, and the other sets of blending inks. I've also got Versafine Claire, but Lisa doesn't sell those, so I probably wasn't going to use those. So I'm going to be using the paints, and these are Pebeo, which is supposed to be quite a good brand, and I've used predominantly fluorescence and iridescence. So I've got two colours of gold. I've got white if I need to pull a print that's too dry to pull any other way, and I've got a matte acrylic that I've also got on here as well. I'm going to start with a background of Shocking Pink, because it's mostly because it's my favourite colour. Now, I found with both these and the Versafine Clairs that it's better if you just put them directly on, and whilst this does make some marks on the gel plate, it's not too bad, and it usually beads up before you take your prints. Now, this plate isn't 100% clean. I tried to clean it off with a coat of paint earlier on and it didn't actually get it all off and some bits on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two very different embossing folders. I'm going to do the deboss on that. I'm going to do the deboss on both of them and make impressions on the plate. So I'm going to put one there like that, and I'm going to put one slightly apart from it like that. I'm going to take a piece of the lightweight card and put it over the top and press without moving anything underneath to pick up the extra ink and make an impression on the ink that's on the gel plate. Okay, so that should be enough pressing and kissing. So it comes out like that, and you can see that the ink, most of the ink's kind of smoothed out, and then we've got quite a pale impression. Isn't that pretty? The lace there, and taking the other one, we've got a fairly complete impression of that all the way through. I was going to use the deboss, wasn't I? And I've picked the wrong one. Anyway, we'll do it for the next one, because that on the embossed side it's covered practically the whole thing, and that's not what we were looking for. We were looking for something a bit more like this. So what I'm going to do is put another layer of ink over the top of that. Exciting, this bit. It's like watching paint dry, I know. So I'm going to have another go with the same colour and the same. I'm going to put the debossed side of the lovely lace back on to pick up a bit more ink, and I'm going to put the other side of the stars one on there like that. So I'm going to put that side on there like that. So I'm going to put that back like that. I'm going to get my piece of card and press down like that. Okay. And this is the card that I just used to pick up the dirty bits on the plate, but wasn't massively successful. That could be useful in the future. Okay, let's see what that's like. That's better. It made it a bit darker. So what's that done? See, that's not a very deep emboss, is it? Maybe that's not the best one to use. Still like it though. Right, let me clean off the plate, the ink that's on the plate, and see what we've got there. They're pretty, aren't they? Both of them. Yeah, I use both of them. I've got to cut them out of that piece of paper or leave them as they are. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try Standard Lilac, and I'll show you that this is not quite as, it's a juicier ink pad, there is a residue of that pink, shocking pink ink still on the plate. Because it's slightly juicier, it's going to spread out in a different way, I guess. And I think there are going to be some dark bits. So let me leave it until the shapes of the ink pad comes off a bit. Did 2 of those. Try that one there. Right there. And I did 2 of those because I didn't manage to get a deep impression on those either. So let's do that on the deboss side. See how that comes out. Press over with a piece of card. Again. No, that's not deep enough. Okay. That's quite pretty. Let's have a piece of card to pick up what's on the plate. Oops. A bit short. Oh. So that first one has taken all of the ink off the plate and not left an impression, whereas the other one has. Okay, every day's a school day. Let's try the robin. I think, what shall I do him with? Let me do the deboss with the paler of the 2 golds. Yep, squeaky one. I've had these brayers for ages, so it's not one I've just bought from Lisa. I had a 4-inch one knocking about that I was using yesterday, but that's obviously the cat's walked off with it. Okay, so I'm going to do the deboss side. That folder is only A6, so that's going to look different. I'm not doing that one again. This one is pretty deep, and I'm going to do that on the deboss side as well. Okay, let me put that over it. I don't seem to be placing my paper very well. I just got it to the edge of the plate, but you know, that's just me. Let's see what the robin does. Well, quite like the all over gold, but it wasn't quite what I was aiming for. This one I suspect will have worked a lot better. Yep, that's good. Great. So we pick up a piece of this. So see if that will pick up. I managed to get all over. Got another little one there. Let's see. Okay, so the gold paint has dried. I'm going to try and pick that up with some white. I think the robin will work quite well with the white. This is a Christmas stamp from a couple of years ago, the robin embossing folder. I think I've got one that doesn't squeak. I do. It's very much a trial and error process, but I think you can probably tell when you've run the embossing folder through whether it's a good candidate or not. Don't know what else I've got left now. Oh, I've just got the standard Compton Florals left after this to do. Trying to do it really lightly so I haven't got the brayer marks on it. Okay, so I don't want that to dry. So let me pick that up. Super smooth, this card, but it does seem to pick the paint and the ink up quite well. Now then, let's see if that's picked up. Too much ink. Love the robin, and the tangled twines come out quite well as well. Great background. That's a great background, the tangled twine, even the pale gold. Okay, let's do the last one. Still some ink on there, paint even. I'm going to see if I can get it off, and then I can use the other side of this. Nope. It's going to come off until it's dry, I guess. Oh well. Put something else on. So let me put the darker gold on because it will mix with the white, won't it? Non-squeaky brayer. It's very thick, this Pebeo paint, but it was on offer from Hobbycraft. So I did stock up on particularly the iridescent and the day glow ones fluorescent. That's what I should be calling them. Okay, so that's a combination of the whites. Now then, the Compton florals tend to work really well with this. So let me put that on there. Let me see if I can redeem this one by putting it on the embossed side. Let's see what that does. I knew it would start pinging as soon as I started recording. We'll see. I want to keep this quite short. Okay, let's see what that's done. I might have pressed this one too hard. Ah, that's really pretty. But I'm also going to get a print off that one. What I'm going to do... Oh, that's lovely. Isn't that lovely? It's really pretty. It'll work really well on a green piece of paper because most of what's left is the foliage. Right, so I'm going to pick that up with paint. Shall I do it with silver? No. Shall I do it with white or silver? Do it with white. It's a lot drier, this white is, I think, than anything else. I've got a nice thin layer, better than last time I did the white. Got a nice thin layer of white. Ooh. Right, so let me lift it off. So it's come through. Sort of that. The brayer on the back always helps, and it also gets the ink off the brayer. I haven't used a brayer with the ink, I've only used the brayer with the paint. It's still not. Yeah, I really like that. But that's me. So what we've ended up with in the pulled prints department, we've got the robin and the tangled twine gold on white. The original pull for that didn't work very well because the paint had dried. That one, only the wrapped up worked, and that one we've got quite a good impression of the stars, but we've got a lovely impression of the lovely lace. So that's the Compton Florals. That's the Arty Daisy. Tangled Twine. That's actually, the more I see that, the more I like it. Festive Robin. The Daisy background, not enough depth. I need to try that folder with a shim. Wrapped up. Wrapping up. Similarly, because of the big shapes, it's picked up quite a lot of the ink. That's quite kind of, that could be used on a birthday card. Use the other side. Yeah. And that's the embossed folder. That's the debossed side of the folder. That's probably worked out the best, which isn't what I was expecting. Okay, I will make a couple of cards with some of these, because they're awful pretty. But the objective was to give you an idea of how you used your embossing folders as stamps, if you like, on the gel plate. So I think I've achieved that objective. Some, as you can tell, some work better than others. So that's me for today. Thanks very much for watching, and bye.